So power, and a bit more power for the All Blacks as they roll through a spirited Wales. And I thought you were going to score.
Ask a better question, you get a better answer.
Hi guys, welcome back. So many great matches this weekend. I'm going to try and spread out the reports. We're starting here with Wales 23, New Zealand 55. Massive win for New Zealand in the end. Wales hung in there, scored some good tries, played some good stuff, but New Zealand just massive in the forwards, powered through them, kept going with the same tactics. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Big win in the end, big statement for everyone else they're going to play. Their pack is serious. Their backs did some decent stuff, but didn't have to push it a whole lot. So first of all, Wales at home under the roof, you can't beat the atmosphere. I wondered if it would be nice handling conditions, but it clearly was really greasy for both sides. And early signs that maybe Wales did want to play to the edges. They did manage to move it wide. And their backs, I thought, looked pretty dangerous. The two wings, Dyer, along with Lewis Rees-Zammit, incredibly quick. North and Tompkins created some decent stuff, but they just weren't really getting the platform from their forwards, and they were going backwards quite a lot. And Wales wanted to disrupt. They wanted to slow down the New Zealand ruck. And early on, they got that one a little bit wrong. So it was 0-3 early on in the side, I think it was. And in the preview, in the selection video, I did say I want New Zealand to grow into this game and not push it too much. And that is what they did, to be fair, in this game. Geordie Barrett, Mo'unga have got big boots, so they were using those early on. And 8 minutes in, Wales's disruption is starting to pay off a little bit. They're decent in the maul there, Beard getting in the way certainly. And also, a note I made early on is Caleb Clark can make a few errors, did make a few handling errors, a defensive read error. So, he makes good ground in attack, but definitely one for other teams to try and pick out maybe. Then we get the first try, and it might be the first time I've ever written this down and said it, but Tipuric, goodness me, an awful tackle attempt. Beard misses a tackle. Tipuric kind of hugs Papali'i, and he's clean through. And then multiple phases, just see them crash over. That was poor, to be honest, from Wales. A shame there. 0-10, just what you don't need. A note for a positive for Wales, though. Dyer he looks a proper winger, so fast. Him and Rees-Zammit fairly similar, to be honest. Could be a good combo. A couple of really good kick chases from him, and he gets his try later on. So good stuff for him on his debut. Well done. Okay, another note. All Blacks mixing it up front. Very happy, just a slug away. And as they're making ground, they realise they've got Wales's number. They don't have to force anything on the Greasy day. That actually really worked very nicely. And then we get another try. Taylor again taking his chance, starting. I still think Takiaho's the better hooker, but Taylor certainly grabbing a brace will not damage his cause, that's for sure. Just simply too much power. Punch over again, looking really dangerous, because as soon as New Zealand are getting into the 22, they know they can just set up big pods, smash away, and they make ground. When Wales did that, just didn't make the ground or went backwards. It's a fairly simple difference. Now in the game, Wales actually went through a good number of phases. They kept the ball fairly well. It's just they were going backwards. That defensive line from New Zealand was brutal, particularly the hits in the forwards. That being said, I like how Rieko Ioane at 13, his pace meant he could drift well. And the threat of Lewis Rees-Zammit and Dyer was there, but he managed to snuff it out a good few times in that first half, which really helps him out. Then a big moment. Priestland turns down 3 points. They're behind already by 17. So, yeah, you've got to score points against the All Blacks. So I think it's the right call. And it's a lovely first phase play. Lots of movement, lots of decoys. The soft pass from Tompkins. Dyer clean through for his debut try. Just brilliant stuff. Clark bitten on the wrong guy there. If in doubt, take the inside man. I think he actually drifted out that time. So it's another little indicator of where maybe Clark's a bit weaker. But the worrying signs are still there for Wales. Those big carries from the All Blacks, just too good. Geordie Barrett crashing over the gain line from 12. Ardie Savea is an absolute beast. Just bulldozing people, tapping and going, whatever. So powerful. What a player he is. But then the magic again from Tompkins. He's the magic man. Pick and go through the middle. Get a penalty. They would have liked more points, but they take 3. So 10-17, despite the fact they're kind of getting a bit done in the power front, they are staying in this game. 10 minutes before half time, New Zealand know they just need to get it in the big boys, smash it up, do it again and again. Then they get a penalty advantage. They decide to put a high kick in cleverly. Geordie Barrett drifts out into the wing position. He's so tall. What's it, 6'5", gets the run on Dyer. Brilliant take over his head in the Greasy conditions. Classy try, 10-22. That really, really hurt. Wales do get a penalty before half-time, so 13-22. I think Wales take it considering that power difference they're experiencing. Now, in the first 10 minutes of the second half, Wales know they need to do something. Faletau, as always, is the man to step up and say, I'll do it. A couple of amazing athletic interventions, give Wales the opportunity, back to within a try. It's a penalty there, 16-22. Now, Wales are starting to get back into this contest, but it's a shame the other flanker, this time Rafael, makes a really bad tackle error, drifts out too much, gets stepped far too easily by Smith. That was pretty embarrassing, to be honest. Lewis Rees-Zammit has to cover across, so he puts another step on him. Great try for Smith, spotting the opportunity, 16-29. I think there may be some changes in that back row in the flankers for Wales. They definitely lost a bit of size, and Chris Schwinzer came on. Absolute beast. I think he's doubled in width since last year. I think he could be getting a start next time because they definitely need to power up. Now, despite the power difference, Wales are staying in this, keeping the ball, even though they're going backwards. They get the chip kick in right on Wanga's head. He can't take it, bobbles around. Tipperick gathers just about to touch down. Tipperick, I thought, actually grew into the game a bit. I mean, he looked a right mess, Tipperick, to be fair. His hair's sticking out, his socks down, but he gets stuck in, doesn't he? And just when Wales are right back in it within 6 points, it's a horror show from Thomas Williams. He can do this sometimes on his kick-in. A bit of a surprise why they didn't start Hardy. He puts one out on the full. They lose a good 35 metres. And then the big boys for New Zealand just go to work. Surveyor and co. Feed Smith. I think it was a big dummy. Feed Smith. Too easy. Nightmare. Just when Wales just needed a good exit, they really mucked that one up. And yeah, that's a real shame. I think it's the turning point. New Zealand, though, discipline, I thought, wasn't a great thing for them. Wales were going through the phases but just weren't threatening them, but they did keep giving away penalties, which kept Wales in decent positions. The All Blacks scrum, that was on top as well. So, you know, they're winning all these physical contests. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. New Zealand get in the 22. They know that 1 out carries off 9 is just going to be too good. So they keep going. Hardy's in for all his hard work. Thinks he has time for a swan dive. Don't do that, please. Nearly doesn't score the try, but just about does. 23-41. You know, the game's out of sight. But Anscombe gets a great charge down on Beauden Barrett, but then shows the problem of Anscombe at 15. I mean, he wasn't meant to be at 15. It was meant to be halfpenny. Really should have an easy run in, but for an international fullback, no, in his older age after his injury, he's just too slow. Mwanga catches him far too easily. I mean, great tackle, but a bit embarrassing for a fullback not to score that. Sounds harsh, but it is fair, I think. And that's the game over for Wales. Players to mention for New Zealand, Ardie Surveyor, out of this world, carrying everywhere. Smith had a good game, a couple of tries. Geordie Barrett just looks fantastic at 12 alongside Ioane. Papali'i, I thought, looked brilliant at 7, his best game I've seen him for New Zealand. It suited him this game, getting stuck in. I think he's a much better player than Kane, bigger as well. For Wales, I was impressed with Faletau, thought he stepped up. The centres and the wings, like I said, look really dangerous, but they just could not compete physically. Their pack will have definitely some things to think about there. And then towards the end, we get a flurry of tries. All Blacks forwards just too big, do all the maul work, all the grunt work. And finally, the Barrett spot, there's a mismatch. They switch back to the left, create a 3-on-2, and Beauden puts Geordie in on a short line for a nice try. And Takiaho comes on, piles over from short range for another one. So it's 55 points to 23 in the end, the win. Well deserved. New Zealand were the best team by quite a long way. I thought Wales did pretty well considering they were getting properly smashed up front. They were losing that gain line contest, and rugby can be a very simple game, especially when it's greasy like that. If you're losing the scrum, losing them all, getting smashed up on the gain line, you're probably not going to score. They did pretty well to keep within it. I mean, within 6 points there on 50 minutes, but New Zealand did what they needed to do. Big statement for everyone else. Let me know what you thought of the game, who played well, maybe some selection changes that Wales needs to play next time to get a bit more competitive up front. Anyway, a great start to this series, and I'll catch you next time.